Shri Radha Gopinath Ji ki jai, Satchidananda Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Ananta Vaishnava ki jai. Go Om Aginatam Randasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pavajantamanapetyam Apetikyam Dvaipano Viraha Tatara Ajuhava Putre Pitamaya Tayotara Bhoginustam Sarvabhutam Nirmanatoshmi. I first of all offer millions and millions of Vrindavan pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Swami Maharaj. And the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishna Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Sripad. And all the Vaishnava and Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. So today we've reached the 6th verse, and today is also Ekadashi, and today is also Gita Jayanti. So we have 3 very auspicious
microphones.
Just a little bit, because we'll spill the whole thing. That's it. Okay. It's very delicately balanced. Very delicately balanced. Now it's not in the right place. One day we'll be able to afford a nice microphone stand. So, Ekadashi means fasting. Fasting from grains, etc. But actually, Ekadashi means running very fast to Krishna. That's actually what it means. Trees and stones, they fast. So what's the big deal about fasting? It's not such a big deal. What's a big deal though is running fast to Krishna. That is something special. So today, that's our focus, to run fast to Krishna, more than yesterday. And also Gita Jayanti. So this Bhagavad Gita we described a little bit yesterday is the foundation or threshold of our path from Shraddha to prema. In our Siksastakam we are traveling through this remarkable staircase from Shraddha to prema. And this principle of Shraddha, which is engendered or which is inspired through our mood of Sharanagati. So in principle, Bhagavad Gita will inspire Sharanagati. This is the general understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Gurudev has explained to us that this verse, Sarvadharma Parityajam Mamekam Saranam Vraja, is not actually the principal verse of Bhagavad Gita. This verse shows Sharanagati, but the main verse of Bhagavad Gita is the one before that. Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto Manyaji Namaskuru Mamo Vaishyati Satyam Che Pritijana Priyosana. That surrender your mind and heart to me. This surrendering of the mind and the heart is the mood only of the gopis. This example of the gopis is the topmost mood of this surrendering the mind and the heart. And then Mad Bhakto, who are those Mad Bhaktas? Who are those special Bhaktas? Prahlad Maharaj. Who else? Ramji, who else? Prahlad Maharaj. Oh, great Pandit. Who else? Huh? Dhruva, Hanumanji. These are all great bhaktas, but they're not as exalted as the gopis. And then Manyaji, that to offer worship to me. This is like Bali Maharaj was offering worship. Then Namaskaru, offer your obeisances to me. This is like Akrura was offering his namaskar in the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So basically, I'm just going to very briefly speak a little bit on Gita in glorification. Gita is divided into 4 categories. The first category is called Guya, which means confidential. This is described in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Dehi noshmin yata dehi kalmaram yogaram jara tata dehantaras praktya diras tatyara yamuyate. That as the body goes through these stages from boyhood to youth to old age, we see this deterioration of the body, but not the soul. Na jayate mriyate vakadichin, etc. So many verses in this 2nd chapter describing this truth of not being the body. Now, higher than the truth of not being the body is appreciating that super soul is within the body. This is called Guyatara. This is the 2nd stage, Guyatara. And this is described in verses such as Isvarashava Bhutanam, Hridesho Raji Jantati, Brahmayam Sarva Bhutanam, Hrideshe Yantra Rudrani Mayaya. My verses are a little rusty on Gita. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, Hridesho, what is it? Hridayo Rajuna Tishtati, Brahmayam Sarva Bhutanam, Yantra Rudrani Mayaya. Thank you. Thank you. This is saying how the Ishvara, the Supersoul, is within the body and is traveling on like a machine made of the material energy. So now we come to the 2nd realization of understanding that there is the Supersoul within the body. This is Guyatara. Then there is Guyataram, Guyatatam. This is the 3rd stage. This is realizing that Ishvara, that Supreme Lord, is manifest as an actual reality. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matahar sarvam pravatante. Iti madva bhajanti mam buddhavava samambataha. That he is the Lord of all the controllers, etc. This is the showing Purushottam, this Supreme Lord. So first we have the I am not the body, that's Guya. Then we have, there is the Super Soul within the body, that is Guyatara. And then we have, higher than that, is that personality of Krishna himself, Purushottam, and that is Guyatatam. And then the 4th stage, most confidential, we have Sarva Guyatatam. And this is embodied in this verse, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto. This is showing the worship and devotion of the devotee. So we have 4 principles. I'm not the body, Super Soul is within the body, there is a Supreme Lord called Sri Krishna, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, and higher than that again are the sweetest relationships with that personality. So these 4 truths are the embodiment of Bhagavad Gita principle. What is confidential, more confidential, most confidential, and most confidential truths. So this is in essence the aspect of the Gita. But in regards to this Manmana, we see in connection with our Siksastakam how we've reached the final verse today. We've reached that full-blown prema. Yesterday we were discussing Vipralamba Bhav, and we've understood that within that extreme separation there is union. Within that height of separation there is union. So it is prema, Vipralamba Bhav. So this was Yugayitam Namishena. Oh, we should chant the prayers now. So this is my Pushpanjali for Bhagavad Gita, and now we'll discuss Siksastakam. Cheto dapanam marjanam bhavamahatavagniya nivarpanam shreyam karayeva chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam punamritasvadanam sarvatmasnam padam param gadayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam nam namakari bahuda nija sharva shaktis tatrapita niyamitas madhena kalaha ekadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mahipi Yud Aivam Idrisham Ihajni Nanura Trinarapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sunishana Amalina Manavina Kirtana Sadhari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmishvare Bhavatar Bhakti Apoitiki Tvayi Ainanda Tunujakinkaram Matitambam Vishvame Bhavambudo Kripaya Bhavapada Pankaja Siddhanduri Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayananda Shrudaya Vadanam Karkara Udaya Gida Purake Nichitam Tapukada Tavanama Grihane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusam Kavisaritam Sunyayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindamire Aslisyava Padaratam Vanashtoma Adashram Babamahatam Karotava Yata Tata Bhavadatu Lampato Matpranastu Saevanapuraha. So we haven't so much time today, but you can read through yourself. If we read this regularly, but now we have the sequence. We've discussed it at such depth on a certain level. We haven't actually dived into the deepest of the deepest essence. We've simply tried to establish this path, these stages of bhakti. We've tried to understand what are these stages and what is my process, what is my duty in sadhana bhajan, what is bhav bhakti, and now what is prema bhakti. So we were discussing yesterday so much what is this vipralamba bhav. This is prema bhakti in separation, deep separation. But we're understanding that this separation in union. And we've seen the description of acharyas are giving that in this 5th verse there's a desire to be stuck like a particle of dust on the lotus feet of Krishna. We have this desire, then all of a sudden it's as if we were stuck to Krishna's lotus feet, and now these tears are welling in our eyes. This 6th verse, and our voice is choking up. These anubhavs are actually manifesting in our hearts, and this mood of bhav is rising in our hearts. And then the concomitant or the natural mood along with that is to progress further into this stage of bhav, from this stage of anubhav. And then all of a sudden everything becomes void because it wasn't actually as we expected it to be. We have no experience of that state of consciousness of prema or even bhav. So if we're preempting, if we're thinking that we understand that, then we can be in for some sort of surprise or astonishment. Especially in this verse we've reached today. It's saying that even though I am performing all this sadhana bhakti, I am prepared to be cast aside by Krishna if he chooses to. If he chooses to trample me, if he chooses to disregard me. It's even Mahaprabhu is expressing, even if he enjoys with other lovers directly in front of me, still my praying for him is unrelenting, it's unrequiting, it's constantly there. It doesn't ever diminish under any circumstances. And I described previously when we were discussing the summary of this state of prema, this beautiful verse, Sarvato Dvamsarahitam Yad Sarvato Dvamsarahitam Yad Bhava Bandhana Sarvato Dvamsarahitam how does that verse go? Sarvato Dvamsarahitam Yadyapi Dvamsakarine Yad Bhava Bandhanam Sa Prem Parikirtita. And this verse I described at length, how when there is every reason for love to break, instead of breaking, it increases more and more and more, exceptionally. And I gave you 3 very beautiful examples of that. This is to demonstrate the absolute transcendental nature of these stages that we're discussing. It has absolutely nothing to do with our material mentality. It has nothing at all to do with lust. Lust has been purified and left behind in the 4th verse. All of our anartas, all of our subtle anartas, those subtle desires have been completely purified. Now we've come to a place where we're just seeking pleasure of the Lord. We're not considering our own situation or our own fortune at all, in any way. Just like the gopis when they ran to the forest. They weren't considering their own giving up of their shame, their reputation, etc. They just ran to please Krishna, to offer pleasure to Krishna. This mood of giving pleasure to Krishna, this is the height of prema. There's one right in here. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita saying, prema thrives on the desire to make Krishna happy, and the deeper the desire is, the more it will make even the most subtle desire for personal happiness disappear. And this type of rati, or bhav, is described as samartha rati. This is the rati of the gopis. There is samanjasa rati and sadarani rati. Sadarani rati is the rati of Kubja, for example. Samanjasa rati is the rati of the queens of Dwarka. There is some hesitation there, but this samartha rati is full-blown, totally looking for the happiness of Krishna exclusively, nothing else. This is pure prema, and the gopis are the highest of this. The gopis' minds are only composed of this mahabhav, the desire to make Krishna happy. Only this. This is the only intention of the gopis. This is the purpose of their birth. They've manifested from the body directly of Sri Radha. They are Radha Kaya Vyuha. Kaya Vyuha means directly manifesting from her body in order to bring pleasure to Krishna. This is their intrinsic swarup. This is our swarup also, is to bring pleasure to Krishna. As soon as we try to bring pleasure to ourselves, the total opposite will be the result. I will bring suffering and sorrow to myself. As soon as I am in the forefront, I am not in my own swabhav or my own swarup. Therefore, it can only ever result in sorrow. But as soon as I am situated in my swarup, which was manifesting in the 5th verse here, this kinkari, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkari, this is the 5th verse. My swarup became manifested at this point, and from that swarup, bhav, and then vipralamba bhav, and now full prema. So we see this gradation. My swarup is only composed of this Krishna seva vasana, this desire to please Krishna. This is why I was manifested. This is why I have a body. This is who I am. I am made up of this. Krishna seva vasana, to please Krishna, to perform service to him. So we have to go through all these various gradations in life to begin to realize this very significant, deep place within us of our real nature. And as we've discussed, it seems like the closer or the more practice we do, it's a phenomena that the further away we've actually become. Because actually we're appreciating the enormity of that place that we're actually approaching, which is the sweetest realm in existence, that pure spiritual kingdom of Goloka Vrindavan. So as we progress, it seems that this goal becomes even more exalted. In the Siksastakam, on this chapter, there are many beautiful points that are given. Bhaktivedanta Thakur is commenting that when mortal beings abandon all fruitive activities and surrender themselves fully unto me, this begins with Bhagavad Gita. It starts with Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is like the path of Sharanagati. You cannot even begin the process without Sharanagati. It's like just functioning in the world. You can't begin to function in the world till you've dressed yourself every day. It's like an ABC, it's an it's an essential ingredient. It's not that Bhagavad Gita is of a lower state or something like that. It doesn't describe the highest conditions of the relationship with Krishna, but it's the very beginning of it. Without the 1 + 1 = 2, how can the final, Pythagoras or whatever, quantum mathematics of prema be a reality? We have to know the 1 + 1 first = 2, otherwise we're off track from the very beginning. I become desirous of bestowing some special benediction upon them when the jiva surrenders. At that time, I cause them to attain their immortal forms, Amrita Swarup, and promote them to the status of my dear eternal associates. So this promotion is through these stages of bhakti, because ultimately the jiva has to make the decision to go in that direction. He has to take the responsibility. How can we love without the decision to love? It's like, for example, if I sprinkled everyone with some magical dust and say, right now you all love Krishna, you wouldn't actually be totally satisfied, because you haven't made the decision yourself to do it. The only reason why the jiva has independence is to make this choice to go towards Krishna. That's why we have a particle of independence. Actually, the jiva is not independent. Only Krishna is independent. Independence ultimately means that whatever he desires will manifest. Whatever we desire may happen or may not happen. We have a free choice to choose between Krishna and Maya ultimately. That is what we call independence or free will. It's simply a choice, but it's not the result of the choice. It's like, for example, if I hide my clock in my hand and I put my hands out and say, right, which hand is the clock in? You have a free choice, but you don't know what is going to be the you don't know what is going to be the result. Yes. So right. You cheated, but he didn't know.
I did know.
You did know. Okay, but if I had a smaller coin, you wouldn't know exactly. It was like that. So you don't know what is going to be the result of your choice, but you do have a choice. This is a very deep thing, actually, that I'm saying, because often you read, oh, the jiva has free choice. He has free will, but he doesn't have free will. He doesn't. What is the result of his free will is not depending on him. But Krishna, his free will, is really free will. If he chooses it to suddenly rain right now, it will rain. So that is complete independence. So only Krishna, he's the only independent entity or vastu in existence. We are not. We have some free will or free choice. So back to this verse. I'll start from the beginning. When mortal beings abandon all fruitive activities and surrender themselves fully to me, I become desirous of bestowing some special benediction upon them. At that time, I cause them to attain their immortal forms and Amrita Swarup, and promote them to the status of my dear eternal associate. So it's only coming from Krishna, this mercy, but there is relationship, as I've described so many times. It must be reciprocal. That is the nature of love, to love, the verb to love. Something must come from my side. I must make a decision to go in his direction, for him to come towards me. From this characteristic, it is understood that in the stage of prema, Sri Krishna is the only life, wealth, and heart of the devotee. In that condition, the perfection of religion is fully exhibited in the form of the mutual attraction between Bhagavan and the devotee. This mutual attraction, this is what creates the chemistry of love. It's a mutual attraction. I am so attracted to Krishna. If we just put the powder over us and all of a sudden magically we became attracted to him, but we hadn't made that decision ourselves, there would be some strength missing. There would be we wouldn't have decided. So we have that independence just to make this choice. And then there's a verse that's translated as, O Brahmana, just as iron is automatically attracted towards a magnet, my consciousness has become released from this mundane existence and forcibly attracted to Sri Bhagavan, the Lord who carries a discus in his hand, by the irresistible force of the Lord's willing potency known as Isha Shakti. So, there's further description about this. And now, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he's saying that the devotees serve Krishna, they offer their love to him, and they meet with him. The sole purpose of whatever they do is to please Krishna. This Sri Krishna Akashani Chasa. I described quite a few days ago this very beautiful verse. Kleshagni Subhada Moksha Lukhata Krit Sudurlabha Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Akashani Chasa. This Sri Krishna Akashani means you develop the ability to attract even Krishna. Krishna is the most attractive. That's what Krishna means. It means the all-attractive one. But by this process and the attainment of these higher stages of affection for Krishna, this becomes so attractive to Krishna. Like we discussed yesterday, when Krishna will enjoy with another gopi. Why is he enjoying with her? Because her attraction for him has built to such a pitch. This attraction is called anurag. It's as if the gopi is carrying a pot of anurag in her hand, of absolute praying for Krishna. Krishna sees that, and he must reciprocate with that. It's just like with us. If somebody comes to us and shows extreme kindness and sensitivity towards us, immediately we must reciprocate. It's natural. Actually, Srila Gurudev has said that if anyone ever offers you anything with love, you must accept it. And the example is of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, when he was offered a cup of tea by Vamsidas Babaji. And he took the cup of tea, but he just put it by his side, he didn't actually drink it. And there were other brahmacharis there saying, oh, why did you take this cup of tea? Are you going to drink it? He said, no, I'm accepting it, but I don't have to drink it. So you can accept anything that is offered with love. You must accept it, even if it's the most bizarre thing. Just like one time Prabhupada was at a house, a life member's house, and they offered them prasadam, and there were onions in the sabji. And the devotees there said, oh, Prabhupada, there are onions in the sabji. And Prabhupada said, no, they're not. And then the devotee said again, oh, Prabhupada, but there are onions in this. There are no onions in the sabji. And he just carried on eating. He didn't want to offend his host. So what was the principle? The criterion was actually the realm of love. With these particular family, I don't know who they were, that particular family, Srila Prabhupada wanted to reciprocate in a very loving manner. So he accepted that as an austerity, as far as loving concerned. So sometimes we accept the higher principle of love.
They said that the praying with which something is given, that praying, that same amount of praying is the way it's accepted. In other words, if you
we hope we have that. Yes.
He himself said that I am something,
yes.
I am praying.
But if I offer you something with my praying, and say my praying, for example, or somebody offers you, and it's more than your praying, how can your praying reciprocate in the same way?
Really is higher than all of them. That's what he said.
Yes, it's very beautiful. But we also reciprocate. The point that I'm making here, significantly, is this reciprocation of love. It's not that I just pray for praying, pray for love of God, pray for, but I never really think about it. I'm just praying for this, bliss to manifest in my heart. It's about relationship. What am I doing to invoke Krishna's mercy to me today, to bestow me a clearer picture of his love for me? Because when the devotee begins to appreciate his love for us, this is when our love really thickens. It's like the cowherd boys. They're being dressed in the morning by their mothers to go and have breakfast with Sri Krishna. What are they saying to their mothers? Quickly dress me. Krishna's dying to see me. Krishna can't wait to see me. Krishna's in so much greed and anxiety to see me. This is how they're feeling. They're feeling how much love Krishna has for them. So then, how much reciprocation can they offer? It's like this with Sri Guru. As we mature in our devotion, perhaps we start to appreciate more deeply the love that Srila Gurudev has for us. How much did he tolerate us? How much did he put up with us? I can remember one time in Fiji, Gurudev had been handing out fruits like papaya and all sticky things, you know, and no one came running to him with any water. So I, like a bit of a buffoon, you know, I held out my chudder for him to wipe his sticky, greasy hands, and he just looked at me and said, "I'm not so less intelligent."
I know it.
I'm not so less intelligent. How could he wash his sticky hands on a chudder? You know, he needed water. But you know, he's still... Actually, I'll tell you a very funny story. As far as reciprocation is concerned, I'm sure everyone has so many pastimes, but I remember one time, very early days in Delhi, we were washing some devotees were washing Srila Gurudev's feet. Very small group, maybe 7 or 8 devotees in the house. And those devotees who were washing his feet, they called me forward to also take part in washing his feet. And as I came forward, Srila Gurudev said, "Go away, go away, go away." I was like, wow, shocked. Really, I was trembling. I was like smashed up against the wall, just like really in, you know, going through so much trauma. It was very embarrassing. There was hardly anyone there. And Gurudev has shown such a sort of negligent mood towards me, you know. Anyway, then when they came to dry the feet, this is just like this verse actually. Now I'm thinking about it. When they came to dry the feet, Gurudev, he just looked from the corner of his eye and went like this. And I sort of felt in my heart, I thought, well, I don't want to come anyway now. But anyway, I came like a sheep, you know. And on the bottom of Gurudev's foot like this, as I was drying the foot, I put it between here, and he grabbed me. He grabbed my hand with his toe. I couldn't pull my hand out. And then I looked up at him, and he had this huge grin from ear to ear. So then, I forgave him. Then I felt okay. Then I felt some relation. But this, how can relation, something real? I remember another time with Shroti Maharaj. He came into Gurudev, and often he's suffering, you know, lack of confidence and so on, came into Gurudev and said, "Gurudev, you know, everyone else is serving you so nicely. They all have such a nice relationship with you. I have no relationship with you really at all." And Gurudev leant back and he put one foot on his shoulder, and then he put the other foot on his other shoulder, and he started like riding like a bicycle like this. And then he looked at him and said, "How can you say we have no intimate relationship?" But what can Gurudev do? What can he manifest? One minute he will be like that, but if you take advantage of that, we've already described this in the description of trying to understand what is Aishwarya and what is Madhurya. So these very sweet pastimes can melt the heart and make you feel very familiar with Gurudev. But then if you carry that familiarity over a boundary, Gurudev will be very offended. So there's a delicate balance always here to understand how to act, how to reciprocate. You know, these teachings, these activities are given by Gurudev directly to bring us to this point of sublime praying one day. But as we've said before, we can only reach the platform of Bhav in this verse, in this birth. So I've just finished reading. The sole purpose of whatever they do is to please Krishna. This is the state of the Premi Bhaktas. In this verse of Siksastakam, the words Adarshanat Mama Hatam mean breaking the heart due to separation. The heart breaks open due to intense separation, and when it breaks, that's when the sweetness and the love manifests. Sometimes we say in the material world, "Oh, he broke my heart. Oh, she broke my heart." You broke open. So it breaks open during the separation. That's the process for breaking the heart open during the separation. It breaks. And then when it breaks, the sweet flower of union emerges from the breaking. So breaking the heart, and then it emerges. In reality, the anguish of the heart related to separation is not a source of distress, but of supreme happiness. This is often very hard for us to understand because we hear all these different pastimes of Radha being in Vrindavan for practically more than 100 years, and how Krishna is away in Dwarka, and how these intense moods of separation are building in her. If we read Brahmara Gita in the Bhagavatam, these 10 stages of madness, this Chitra Jalpa. What are these stages? I can even say them because I have them written down here. It's good to hear them sometimes. There's Prajalpa, which shows... Well, I want this one. Prajalpa, Vijalpa, Sanjalpa, Avalpa, Abhijalpa, Ujvalpa, Ajalavalpa, Pratijalpa, Sujalpa, Parijalpa. So these are 10 types, and you can read their various descriptions. They're very clear in that Sa'artha Darshani book by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, his commentary. We should all read, because many times when Gurudev is speaking, he's speaking directly from the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And that particular book that we have in English is a real jewel, because all of these descriptions are there by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And he's saying these 10 types of jalpa are called divyanmad. So these are a kind of madnesses that are manifesting in Sri Radha out of her intense separation. And from that madness is going to break her heart, and then this flower of union is going to manifest. That's the equation, so to speak. This is evidenced by Sri Krishna in a statement from Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, "O beloved Gopi, O tender-hearted friends, for my sake you abandoned social convention, Vedic regulations, and even your family relationships. I disappeared from you only to increase the intensity of your feelings for me, and I was secretly listening to your love-intoxicated speeches. I am your beloved, therefore don't be displeased with me." He's explaining, he's pacifying the gopis. He never left them. Just like Gurudev, he never leaves us. He's always here. He's always present. Especially when we meet together. Especially when we meet in his places. This is his temple. This is his place. Tungavidya is his servant.
We discuss his books.
We have his books. We have everything here. We're soaked in his moods. Everything is representing him. So when we collect together and we discuss him, how can he not be present before us? An important point spoken in this verse is that in the statement, "delighting me by your embrace." So in this verse, this last verse, Aslisya Vapadaratam, it's saying that even if you delight me by your embrace, there is not even a scent of desire for personal happiness. If it makes Krishna happy by embracing me, that is my joy. But it's not that I'm looking to be joyful by being embraced by Krishna. I'm looking to please him with my beauty. I'm not looking to please anything within myself. Everything is for him entirely. We cannot understand this stage. We can appreciate it gradually, day by day, moment by moment. If we focus ourselves and want to appreciate this by our nam bhajan, by our practice, we begin to appreciate what is this love. The heart, even materially, wants love. The boy wants to be with the girl wants to be with the boy. We want that sort of loving relationship. Who doesn't want that sort of loving relationship? And yet we've walked away deliberately from the material conception of that relationship. And now we're looking towards the spiritual relationship, but we haven't perhaps found it yet. So it's a very critical stage between these two worlds of my material heart, looking for some happiness or joy, and my spiritual aspiration. Gurudev describes it as a very critical stage. We need to quickly put ourselves in good association. This is the backbone. This will carry us through. Without association, we're going to be influenced by a lower association, automatically. Just like I said, that analogy of the liquidity of water gets transformed into ice by its association. By it being in a frozen environment, it becomes very hard. It loses its nature, its svabhav. It becomes hard. It's no longer in a liquid form. I will also lose my softness and gentleness if I move into a harsh environment. What does association mean? We can move into a harsh environment, but not associate with it. We don't have to associate. Association means that I'm sharing my inner moods and confidences with someone who's not understanding Krishna precepts at all. They cannot understand this because fundamentally the materialist or the non-devotee wants to enjoy something in this realm ultimately. Ultimately his goal is to get some pleasure.
What if we feel pleasure? We're not looking for that, but if we feel it, what about that? We have to repress?
In the material situation or in the spiritual situation? In the spiritual situation, there's the beautiful example of Daruka. He's Krishna's chariot driver, and he was fanning with a chamara, Krishna, and these ecstatic symptoms were erupting from his body as he was doing it. But there's a verse describing how he was actually unhappy by those symptoms because he wanted to perform his service and please Krishna. But these eruptions of his hair standing on end and tears were coming from his eyes. He couldn't properly perform his service to Krishna. This is an extreme example. It's showing when these anubhavs are coming, am I just going to sit and taste those sweet anubhavs? Or has the reason or cause for those anubhavs manifesting, which is my attraction to Krishna, are they going to remain supreme? Remember when we talked about the stage of ruchi, I said distinctly there are two types of ruchi. There is the taste that the soul experiences itself by the joy of mode of goodness and treading on this path. There's a great taste in that, a sweetness in that, of heightened awareness, of a heightened stage of consciousness. It's a very blissful stage to be in, and we can sit and enjoy that stage. But that's not the principle. That's lower than the stage of being focused on bringing pleasure to Krishna. It's so high, Sarada. How can we think? We can just hear these topics, and pray at some point to have the courage and the strength and the determination and the greed to acquire that quality beyond our material consciousness. It's something in transcendence. The only way to appreciate this is through our dedicated bhajan. And it won't happen immediately. Like in this connection, there's some very beautiful thoughts by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj in this verse. He's saying that this verse in particular, it's saying it's going beyond the place of justice. If I've given everything to you and you just totally ignore me and you neglect me completely and you pay so much attention to so many other people and you just are completely indifferent to me, this, according to justice, is very, negative. It's very hurtful. But here, Sri Radha is saying, even if you do this in front of me, I won't mind. She's not looking for that place of justice. She's looking for that place of mercy only. Only mercy. It goes across that boundary. Mercy is so much higher than justice. Sometimes devotees, they argue about things, ridiculous things. If they thought at this point a little more often, it would reduce the amount of arguments. If you're looking more to the intention of the other person, or what is my relationship with that person, do I just have to defeat his argument? Is that the most important thing, that I defeat his argument? Oh yes, then I feel better, then I defeated him. Great, how does that person feel? You've smashed him, how does he feel? Blah, withered. What is the value? Where is that relationship of sweetness? How to melt the individual? Of course it starts in this world. It starts in our devotional relationships with each other. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he's talking about this in this. You can read this. We don't have much light now. Huh? We can read in this Okay. Now there's a gradual build-up to what I've just been describing. So I'll just read a little paragraph first, and then we'll come to the point. But you understand the principle. It's in a transcendental place. Our whole conditioning, not just in this life, but in billions of births, has been self-seeking. Seeking my own happiness, determined to squeeze some pleasure out of the material world. But my soul has never ever been satisfied with that. Because my soul is spirit, and anything in the material world is made of matter. It's not spirit. I can only actually be joyful, ultimately, when my soul is being connected. I may taste some flickering, it's called Jad Ananda, material pleasure. You know, I may experience pleasure if I receive €1,000,000, 600,000 euros. And then what happens? In the very next instant, I get 600,000 desires flooding into my heart to actually probably not make me so joyful. Suddenly I want this and this and this. Probably I suddenly realize I don't even have enough money to fulfill my desires now. Even though I just got this windfall, now it's not enough. I want more, more, more. It's the nature of the material mind. But the spiritual side is similar to that. If you suddenly experience some bhav feeling, it's not enough. You want more. This greed intensifies. So it's a phenomena even in the material world and the spiritual world. If you get something, a lot of some goods or something, some wealth, immediately the nature materially is to probably want to increase it. How satisfied are people if they just win the lottery? You know, they suddenly want something else and something else and something else. All of a sudden it's not sufficient. And if we suddenly get to this stage by Guru and Krishna's mercy of receiving some glimpse into this spiritual realm, what will be the result of that is that my greed to attain that will increase. And it's the greed that brings me great joy. It's the greed that gives me great exhilaration. Ultimately, it's the current, it's the life air of that mood of affection. Is this greed?
So, a question.
Say?
There are some acharyas in our line, like Bhaktivedanta Puri Maharaj, for example, and they sometimes hide some moods in. For the disciples, Ramesh Prabhu, who was serving him. So, and Krishna Kinkar Prabhu, he's from Bengal. And he was telling me that one day he was his personal servant of Bhaktivedanta Puri Maharaj. And he was entering, and Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Puri Maharaj, was crying. But in front of his disciples, he all the time was keeping that. In the case of our Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, he didn't. He opened many space to talk about gopis, but other acharyas who are Uttan Mahabhagavat, they hide. So why happened this? Why some are more open, other are more?
Gurudev often said it is my bad habit to keep talking about the gopis. He described himself in a disparaging way like that. He used to joke like that. He used to say, "This is my service to my Guru Maharaj." But sometimes he would joke like that because he would see how many ripples he was causing amongst even, other Vaishnava groups. But Gurudev just decided in this life from a very early age, he wasn't going to waste his time just cutting the jungles of Mayavad. He was inspired within to actually plant this deep seed of Raganuga Bhakti. He has understood from divine sources, whatever, that if he doesn't put this seed very deeply into the world at this point, it will probably be lost forever. Who else is discussing in a Vaishnava context? The Babajis are discussing something, but it's not in the same support, it's not in the same environment as the Gaudiya present this truth. But all of these truths, with Gurudev's brilliance and excellence, are already there within all of the songs that we sing every single day. We described yesterday, what is the meaning Nikunja Yunorati Keli Sitai? We sing it every single day. This is the Swarup of Guru. in the Kunja wanting to please Radha and Krishna daily. Every moment he's intensely desiring to satisfy them. This is only Raganuga. If we look closely with Gurudev's brilliance and expertise, he's shown it, he's brought out from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he's brought out from so many scriptures that this is the only... What are we discussing now? What has Mahaprabhu himself said? What is the nature of this verse? How could you interpret this verse not to mean less than what I'm describing? And I'm not describing it really, really deeply, I'm just giving an overview of it. You know, so how can you avoid that? If someone tries to shut it down and pretend that, you know, we don't want to talk about that, we want to talk about how to purify ourselves, Prabhu, how we're actually going to chant so many rounds and we're going to do so many austerities, you know, and then we think Krishna will be pleased with that. Why should he be pleased with that? Why is he going to be pleased with your austerity? He's going to be pleased when you want to please him, or when you appreciate how much he loves you. It's a softness of the heart, not a hardness of the heart. Requires a lot of courage. Our Gurudev was so amazingly courageous. He just like walked across boundaries constantly in his affection to give this commodity.
He was also ordered to do it by
He was
Bhaktivedanta, who was the only disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta who was allowed to speak about Radha. They were not allowed to speak about Radha. Even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada himself didn't so much. He kept it so hidden. It's too sacred. But he did. He was. And he said to Gurudev, you must speak this everywhere or it will be lost.
I'm sure Gurudev was also inspired by Srimati Radhika also. And
Everyone has their own
I don't know
particular specialty of service.
Janardhan Maharaj, I don't know his teachings, or I have no connection in a sense with him, so I can't appreciate what you just said deeply, you know, because I don't know that personality. I take with full faith what you just said, but I don't know that individual, so I can't feel.
Really, he was very close. They're very close to each other in mood.
But the way that Gurudev has presented these truths to us, it's hard to imagine that there is any other way of actually making progress. Can we imagine another way to make progress except by hearing about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the Gopis? I mean, is it possible? Do we imagine that if I just chant lots of rounds and, you know, do so much services, that this is necessarily going to give me an understanding of the Gopis' love for Krishna, unless I hear about their love for him, unless I talk about their love for him? How will I become educated in who they are? It's like I'm trying to inspire attraction within myself for someone, but I don't really want to know about them. Gurudev has made it this clear. He's made us now feel, how can you not go in that direction? What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to only give? Prem ras niryase korite ashvadan. He was tasting prem. The intelligent person will ask what sort of prem is that? What is the nature of that prem? Why did he come again after he came as Krishna? What were all the reasons for his descent? We've talked so many times on this. What are the three desires in Mahaprabhu's heart? The third desire, he wants to experience the happiness that Radha is tasting from the sweetness of his love. What does that mean? This is only in the 4th verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita. How can the devotee walk past that and not examine it and think, what is it talking about? Why should we cover that over at all? We don't want to encourage neophyte or new devotees to jump. Gurudev would constantly discourage this. Nevertheless, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. You still keep these topics flowing. But we should know sufficiently we should become, all of us, very, very deeply well versed in Shastra, just like our beloved Gurudev was. So much so that he can present these topics on any level to anybody, because he understands utterly the final conclusion. There's no doubt at all, you know, of his height in understanding these granthas the teachings of the Goswamis so deeply. Therefore he can impart what is the mood, what is the desire there. Okay?
Okay, I agree. His question was answered. He was asking why would the Mahabharats don't all talk about this in the Gurudev?
I think they were all saving it for Gurudev to talk about. They were all sitting back and Gurudev was so boldly speaking it, so let him speak it.
That was Gurudev's specialty.
Perhaps they were more timid in some sense than Gurudev. Perhaps. I don't know. Perhaps Gurudev had been directly ordered by many personalities to actually do like this. And Gurudev was fearless. But this is the Shastra, this is the Siddhanta. There isn't any other Siddhanta if you think there's something else. Our path, you must read this essay. I've told you repeatedly, I haven't got a copy. Maybe tonight I can get that essay from the introduction of Venugita. And there he's clearly saying that if you think that it's the way, the process is to just purify yourself, to become worthy to hear these topics, how long will it take you? And when will you have the arrogance to think that you are worthy enough to hear these topics? We devotees don't think we're worthy at all to hear these topics, but by Gurudev's mercy, we're receiving them. By Gurudev's mercy, we are hearing them. It's entirely Gurudev's mercy that's allowing us to hear these topics. He's like protecting us from any difficulties.
It's like a trade-off.
Yes.
Trade-off.
He said, yes. If he doesn't give this, we will all be lost. Is that what you said?
No, it will all be lost.
Oh,
There's
it will.
knowledge.
Yes,
There's
this is
knowledge.
what I've said also.
Huh? We
No,
will.
she's saying something different. She's saying we will be attracted to something else, to the Babajis, for example. We'll be attracted to another place where these topics are discussed. Because the nature, the pure nature, just a minute, Mahamatra, the pure nature of the soul is that he longs with all his fiber to hear these topics. I know when I'm speaking this guitar, I speak many times in the world, and every single time when I start to speak about a pastime of Krishna, I see on all the faces, they all lean forward and their eyes start to shine. Every single time. If I'm just speaking tattva, vichar, you're not the body, this, you know, people, they're sort of like all sitting back, some are taking notes, you know, but no one's really right there. But as soon as you start speaking about Radha and Krishna and the God, everyone is immediately. It's just an amazing. So, Gurudev can see like that. If he's not going to give that enthusiasm, where will you go for it? The soul is hankering for it, it's desiring it, it's crying for it. But understand what it is in the end, how high this verse is. Even if you come in front of Krishna after all this performance of sadhana bhakti, he might just become indifferent to you, ignore you totally. Are you ready for that? Have you developed enough selflessness to be thinking of just his happiness? If he chooses to ignore you, I can remember one time in Badger in a festival, Gurudev, he didn't look at me one time. For 7 days, I was going like mad, you know, wanting his, you know, glad. He just wound me up to such a pitch. And then right on the very last day, he shot one glance at me for 1 second. And it was like the universe just pouring onto me. It was so heavy. But he would do like that, wouldn't he? Sometimes 6 months. Oh my God, I could not have tolerated that. No way, no way. I know other ladies also who have had similar experiences. Yeah, that's what he wanted. How beautiful.
What does he say? After 6 months?
Yes. After 6 months, she wrote him a letter saying how wretched she felt and so on. And then Gurudev was saying, yes, very good. Now you're actually learning the real nature of our material predicament. Yes, yes, I am wretched. Gurudev would perform these mystical, miraculous operations on us. Just like this verse is describing. Just like Krishna left the gopis. Why? For exactly the same purpose. To wind them up like a tight coil. To purify any inebrities or any shubha karma, anything at all that was remaining, that was going to be a slightest obstacle to the Rasa Leela would be purified in that intense fire of separation. And then he manifested and apologized so beautifully. And the gopis immediately melted towards him. I cannot repay you in this birth, for all what you have broken these chains of household life and just come to me. How can I ever this has broke their hearts again. And then again, Krishna would leave. And again, this is the process. It's always building. Everything is moving. Everything is dynamic. We have to really appreciate this quality or this essential movement of divine love. My mantra, what did you want to say? Oh, that was beautiful what Tungaviti just said. 6 months. It's a long time.
And misguide everybody.
Yes. It's our right to speak all these high topics.
But we have to present it in the correct
So he said
way.
we have to give it the right focus or the right. It's actually our
Property. Yes. Don't leave it in the hands of the sahajiyas.
Yes.
Arta pravriti. This is the
Yesterday,
part. We've already discussed this.
I was in Mathura and in the class, and I am astonished how your Harikatha with the Harikatha of Premananda Prabhuji is connected, because he was speaking about the importance to have high association Anugatya, be under the guide of a Rasika Vaishnava who is going to teach you all these things. But at the same time, I asked to him what happened when you have the association, you have the Uttan Mahabhagavat there, you have the Rasika Charya there, and fall down. And the Charya is there, and the Anarthas, and they start happening things that shows that maybe something has happened in your process, or in the process of the sadhaka, that is not well, and maybe that that Anartha maybe is there hidden or something like that, because the High Guru is there, everything is there, the Dham is there, everything. And Premananda Prabhuji said, because the disciple will receive according to his adhikar. So Guru have a lot of to give, but he will be able to receive as much as he can. So it means like according to your capacity, you will receive everything what Guru gave. If you are ready in that moment, Guru will give you everything. If you are not ready yet, then so Guru will start giving you slowly until you reach that stage.
Did you all hear what he said? He said a long time, I can't repeat it all. He said, basically, according to your adhikar, that much Guru can impart to you, according to your own capacity. In other words, relationship. What is coming from my side can be reciprocated. Yayatam mam prapadyante. That is, Krishna says, I will reward you according to your affection for me. According to your surrender, I can reciprocate. But Mahaprabhu is different. Mahaprabhu says, even if you don't reciprocate, even if you don't have a pot for the praying that I'm coming to give, I will give you a pot as well. Even if you just go to sleep in Navadvip Dham, it's considered Dandavat pranams to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will accept it. He is Odarya Shakti, that highest, munificent mood of forgiveness. Only that sort of personality can bestow this highest jewel on the most fallen. This is like your question before. Mahaprabhu is the most merciful, the most munificent. So he's come to the most fallen to give the highest conclusion of spiritual relationship. But the principle that we've said repeatedly is this understanding of relation. Now this relationship must continue now, today. It's not that, oh, my beloved Gurudev is no longer physically present. We all know this. What am I doing myself to respect his disciples, to care for his disciples? This should be uppermost in our mind, this amanina, not looking for my own self-interest, but manadena, looking for the respect of others. Gurudev would speak so repeatedly on this, because this is the foundation. Look, we want to come back to this verse. This verse is too beautiful to leave for too long. At first the devotee thought, if I am raised to that standard of service, my heart will be fulfilled by thirst, and my thirst will be quenched. He's talking about in the 5th verse. If I come just to be a speck of dust on Sri Krishna's lotus feet, my thirst will be satisfied, and I will feel some ease and satisfaction within me. This is from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj. But the development of his devotion took him to an unexpected plane of life. It is the nature of divine love that when a drop of that medicine is given to a hankering patient, the patient thinks he is cured, but he is taken to a dangerous position. Hang on a sec, did I read this yesterday? I did too. Oh, I was reading something from yesterday. So I wanted to read something else today. Okay, we read this yesterday, in connection with yesterday. Okay, the dangerous position that he was coming to was this void. So now we've come out of this void, and we've come into this full-blown darshan of Krishna. And Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Maharaj is making it very clear that don't have any expectations of, this reciprocation. And it's like we see with Gurudev, like we've been discussing. Don't expect Guru to reciprocate necessarily. He's a free person, he's a free agent. He's the same as Krishna in this world for us, Guru. He's an autocrat. He can ignore us or he can pay us attention. Whatever is his choice. We discussed this yesterday. So it's not justice that we're looking for. Mercy is above the law. Prema, divine love, is also above the law. But it has its own law. Another verse whose meaning runs parallel to the one given by Srila Rupa Goswami, then he quotes a verse. And it's talking about a small bird, this Chataka bird, that's just waiting for the shower of rain. It won't drink water anywhere else except the rain. It has that much nishta and...
a special rain, Swati Nakshatra, not just any rain.
Okay, well, don't want to confuse it too much in the presentation. He doesn't say that in here. But I know I've heard this from Gurudev. But that's making it more confusing. So, this Swati Nakshatra, a special rain, but nevertheless this small bird is waiting exclusively just for this rain. It won't take anything else. So if our nishta, if our focus, if our devotion is so exclusive just to bring the Lord pleasure, nothing else, not moving in any other direction, this unpointed, aikantika bhakti, this is our goal, this is our desire. He's saying, the devotee prays to the Lord, you are the friend of the fallen, so I have some hope. I think most of us find it quite easy to feel that we're fallen. If we were in another age as Paka Brahmanas, perhaps 500 years ago in another birth, it might not have been so easy for us to think, I'm so fallen. Oh, I'm doing so many yajnas, the whole village is respecting me. I'm actually not so fallen as all that. So how can I pray in that fallen condition? But for us, we are constantly reminded of our extreme fallen condition. It's healthy. It's healthy for us to remain in that place. It's not a, don't think it's something negative. It's okay. You may grant your grace or severely punish me. In either case, I have no other alternative but to wholly surrender to your lotus feet. Our attitude of surrender should be just like that of the Chataka bird, who always has his eyes fixed upward, praying for rainwater. Rainwater may come profusely, not enough to fill up his small belly, but enough to drown his whole body, etc. He talks like this. this verse, it's very beautiful. He gives a beautiful pastime here. He says that at Kurukshetra, Krishna becomes so overwhelmed with regret that he left Sri Radha for so long that he comes into that kunj where she and the gopis are waiting at Kurukshetra, and he's begging forgiveness from Sri Radha. And he's coming, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Maharaj describes, as if he's a criminal, as if he's done something wrong. And he comes to touch Radha's feet. But Radha, she pulls her feet back, and then she says, "What are you doing? You shouldn't touch my feet. You're not guilty of anything. I'm the guilty one. I didn't have the love sufficient for you to leave my body. If I had loved you sufficiently, I would have left my body. I'm the one who is guilty." She's feeling like this. So this sort of mood in Radha, even though it would appear materially that she's the one who is being neglected, but she's feeling that extreme or extremity of humility that actually she's the one at fault, not Sri Krishna. Remember the other day I gave 3 examples of prema in regard to that verse. Sarvatodvam sarahitam yadyapi vamsakarine yad bhava bandhanam sa prem parikirita. You should know where this verse is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, and Srila Rupa Goswami has quoted it, describing prema. And I gave 3 examples, do you remember? One was of Radha, that Krishna had gone to Dwarka, married 16,108 queens, had so many children and grandchildren, and yet did her prema waver 1 iota? Never. Actually increased. Then the other one was Chandravali, that Krishna sometimes on her lap, and in his dream he's saying, "Oh Radha, Radha, Radha," and Chandravali becomes very disturbed. She knows that Krishna loves Radha more than her, but does her prema for Krishna diminish at all? Remember I gave this example? Who remembers the 3rd example? Draupadi. Draupadi, when Krishna allowed Ashwatthama to go and murder her 5 sons, those princes, Rajkumars, and did her prema waver at all? And what about Subhadra also? Subhadra, the mother of Abhimanyu, the sister of Krishna, had so much, absolute faith in Krishna, and yet Krishna allowed that beloved son of hers, that great hero, that 16-year-old boy, such a hero, to leave this world in that tremendously heroic way. What tragedy that was, but did her prema diminish? So these are examples of prema that cannot be broken, even though there is every good reason. So we understand from these descriptions the nature of this transcendental experience of prema. It is beyond this world. So therefore we have to take Nam and enter into that world. We have to leave this world. We are all foreigners here, but in that world we're not foreigners. That is our home. Back to home, back to Godhead. That is our home. In this world we're foreigners. Always we will be foreigners. Actually, as a devotee, we're always foreigners anyway. When we go back to wherever we're from, we're dressed like this and we're foreigners. When we come here, we're foreigners. Every single place we go, we're foreigners. It's mercy, isn't it, that we're foreigners? But in that world, we're not foreigners. In that world, it's just saturated with affection and love for us, and we will reciprocate with that. So this final verse of Siksastakam is so powerful, so special, so high, and many times we should contemplate the meanings of this verse. I've just described very little, just a little tip of the iceberg. Honestly, we can talk for many, many days on this verse. It's the culmination of everything. So Srila Gurudev has given some wonderful conclusions to this whole Siksastakam. Now it's 9:30. We'll discuss something of these this evening, and we'll read some verses again from Bhajan Rahasya, and we can discuss also this understanding of our relationship with Guru, and how is that reflecting our aspiration towards our relationship with Radha and Krishna. How is that same sweetness going to be applied? You understand? How much has Guru melted us here? How much can we apply this within our bhajan? Okay? Jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. I don't feel like I've spoken enough. I feel like I want to speak for another hour or so, but it's time. But these topics are so sweet and relishable, you know. And we should, I hope next year, by Tungavidya's mercy, I can come again at the same time. And perhaps we can speak even on the same topic. And I promise you it will be with totally different understandings. We can speak all of these verses from a rasa vichar platform, which are actually different. We can describe these different stages in a much more rasik manner. We can go through the stages from prema to mahabhava, paralleling these verses. So it's unlimited, this Siksastakam. And it's the gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without Mahaprabhu's mercy, we can't understand it. Without Mahaprabhu's mercy, I can't speak it. And without Mahaprabhu's mercy, no one can understand it. So it's all Mahaprabhu's mercy, who has been gifted to us by our beloved Gurudev. Without Gurudev, we could not have even asked for Mahaprabhu's mercy. We wouldn't even know how to ask for it. But Gurudev has shown us how to knock on Mahaprabhu's door, how to invoke his mercy. So mercy is flowing. But how big is my pot to hold it all? My pot is my sadhana. My pot is my own personal development. Today's Ekadashi. Today, what is going to be our development of my sadhana today? Can I make a little extra time in my general sadhana to go to read an extra astakam, to chant some extra round, to do something more, to create a stronger pot so I can contain more mercy? This is the process. And the more mercy, the more greed to get more mercy. Never stops, so it's endless, endless, endless. Jai Shri Gurudev ki jai. Shri Gaura Sundara Mahaprabhu ki jai. Siksastakam Radha Gopinath Ju ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gopinath. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadhavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Yadhavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giri Hari Gopinath Madana Moha. Giri Hari Gopinath Madana Moha. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gupta. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Ichai Goshai Kori Charana Vandana. Yaha Hoite Vignanas Abhistapura. Ichai Goshai Jebe Moitara Dasa. Tasa Pera Padareno More Panchagra. Padare Charana Sevi Bhakti Sanavasa. Janame Hoi Abhilash. Echai Goshai Jebe Braja Koilovasa. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kodila Praka. Ananda Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Manjayamana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Kori Ashe. Gopinath Ju ki jai, Satchinandana Gaurahari ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Vargya ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Sri Siksastakam ki jai, Prema, Gopinath Bhavan ki jai, Vanchakalpaturabhischa, Kripa Sindhavescha, Bhaktivedanta Namayo Vaishnava.
Tridandi Maharaj ki jai.
Vaishnavas ki jai.